What is happening, guys? My name is JB and today we are reviewing HAKEN's album Aquarius. Now sit back, relax and grab yourself a beer because I got a lot of things to get through. Now the reason why I'm doing a HAKEN album review is because the HAKEN album reaction got blocked worldwide and Sony Music Enterprise completely blocked it. And you know what? I don't deal with SME anymore. I do not deal with SME and I'm not gonna react to HAKEN anymore. So therefore, I'm just gonna provide you some album reviews. Now, the thing about HAKEN is they are such a fantastic band. I saw them in June this year in Melbourne. They were absolutely fantastic. It was just a fun night. Progressive metal, fun metal as well. And I absolutely loved it. I am doing a patron request. It was originally supposed to be a reaction, but it's now an album review just because I can't deal with Sony's shit anymore. Because this is an album review, we're gonna go right in depth of the album as well. Very similar to the Slipknot's album review that I did a few days ago. This is gonna be quite a lengthy review, so sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. So Aquarius is a concept album. So it's all about a mermaid that is discovered by a fisherman, and then that fisherman decides to put her up in a circus, put her on display, but the fisherman feels a little bit sorry for her. I think they actually fall in love with each other, but there's a huge storm brewing in the distance, and this is all to do with global warming, this huge change in climate. So once the big rains hit, only the mermaid can save mankind with her blood. So overall, interesting lyrics. This is HAKEN's first debut album. I gotta say, I'm very impressed with this album. Very impressed. The reason why I'm very impressed is because there are elements of Dream Theater, elements of different sort of other bands as well. They were definitely influenced by Dream Theater with all these crazy guitar solos and everything throughout this album. But overall, it's a cohesive album. This album was released on the 29th of March 2010. And we had Ross Jennings on vocals, Richard Henschel on guitar and keyboards, Charlie Griffiths on guitar, Thomas McLean on bass guitar, Rain Hearn on drums, tuba, and Diego Teja on keyboards. So there were a few keyboards, and you can tell there were a few keyboards because there's a lot of keyboards throughout this album. Sit back and relax and enjoy this in-depth review as we go track by track of HAKEN's Aquarius. Okay guys, point of no return. So if I'm looking down, these are my notes. Point of no return is a great way to kick off the album. Kicks off with an impactful introduction with a circus type melody, really representing maybe where the mermaid is actually going, with interesting keyboards and guitars with nice drum fills by Ray. There's a menacing synth which is accompanied by eerie guitars. So things subside as there is a crescendo. Ross comes in accompanied with a sexy bass groove. Good use of the rim clicks by the drums along with the bass kick drum. So overall, the first verse is very cool. It incorporates a bit of the snare as we transition into the chorus. There's a slow tempo, but then it picks up. Ross shines in this with his high falsetto, delivering a lot of emotion throughout the song. So throughout the song, there's a nice use of the Simpson keyboard melody. So drums begin to transition into a nice tone of the hi-hat, alternating with a few drum fills. So what is really awesome is you get growling vocals. So Ross incorporates death metal vocals. It comes in around 4 minutes and transitions an awesome guitar solo. And then the chorus comes in. The guitar solo is very good. Throughout this album, you get a lot of guitar solos and a lot of keyboard solos. Really intensifying the songs. So it transitions into an upbeat vibe along with a nice guitar melody. Tone of the guitar sound distorted and fun. Then we get another solo along with the keyboard solo, but a nice bass lick followed by a few crazy instrumentals. So this song is comprised with absolutely insane instrumentals. Which is awesome is we also get a section that sounds jazzy. There are different time signatures which makes this song very interesting. Doesn't sound boring at all. Really nice symphonic elements transitioning into the next verse along with distorted guitar riff. Ross extends and showcases his high vibrato and falsetto and uses interesting tones with his vocals. So then the same melody comes back from the intro to the conclusion, but this time more menacing. finishing off with a nice piano melody. Now to me, what I got from this song is a very interesting story. Like, I believe you have a child, a mutant child that was born within the land. The parents find out that, you know what, this child doesn't belong in the land, so therefore parents actually throw her in the sea because they realize that she is a mermaid. So a child is born tonight and love has come to life. That ideally means that this mermaid has feelings, emotions. The mermaid has been brought up on land, but now it's time for her to be cast in the ocean. I believe the parents are scared that she's going to be called a circus freak, and I think the parents actually set her free in the waters. And that's when the mermaid begins to grow and understand. There's also a human side within this mermaid, and this is where there is a strong connection. So I feel that the parents love it. I feel also that the mermaid has a strong objective to do things that are right. Parents actually free her. Very cool song. I thoroughly enjoyed No Point of Return. It was energetic, it was melodic as anything, and Ross really showcased his vocal. We then lead on to streams. So you get a piano that starts off with a nice acoustic guitar accompanied with a funky bass lead. There's an electric guitar settles in with an awesome melody leading on to a groovy verse. In a transition to the chorus, which sounds similar to the previous song, since this is a concept and it incorporates the same sort of melody, but Ross incorporates a nice falsetto throughout the chorus. So there are nice accents and ghost notes by Ray. This song sounds quite basic at first, but things transition fast and it becomes quite heavy. We get a very cool chunky guitar riff throughout the song, a nice Arabian feel by the keyboards transitioning into an awesome keyboard solo accompanied with punchy drums. The drums really intensify throughout the song. You get a nice guitar lead in the next verse. After the chorus hits again, we get an organ-like melody, which is awesome, that then leads into heavy growls by Ross and good use of the intense cymbals, sounding like it's something out of doom metal, something out of Swallow the Sun or something. You get these intense growls by Ross, and you get this slow drumming, very doomy, but yet really conveying that story to the listener. This is intense and really brings into the song in the next element. Ross comes in with distorted vocals that I'm not really a fan of, to be honest, but that to me is saying that the waters are rising, but the mermaid is safe, but the humans are about to die. That's what I was getting from this part, and it sounds like he's talking underwater. But maybe this also represents the mermaid's perspective. I'm not too sure about this, but it's also part of the story. Nice vocals by Ross, very distinctive, rich and warm, with an eerie guitar melody, especially throughout the conclusion. But there is a nice slow guitar solo, and it leads on to the chorus to end the song on a high. So overall, this song is awesome. I really do enjoy this song. So to me, what I was getting from the lyrics in this is that once the parents cast a mermaid away, the parents are feeling guilt and regret and don't understand and maybe are really struggling on how they are going to cope with losing their child, because they're scared that she's going to become a freak. She's going to be displayed in a circus. Overall, this song is all about the mermaid being free and loving it, loving every moment of it. But then she realizes there are rising sea levels due to global warming, apparently. Apparently humans caused the climate to change, and a storm is brewing. And once that storm's brewing, we're going to get internal rain, which is later on. So then I feel she's a bit torn between personal happiness, but she's also connected to humans. So the waters start to rise, and humanity is at threat here. She's torn here. She knows whether she wants to save the human race, or she could just be selfish and just live on with her life. Part of her is human, so she wants to save her own kind. Part of her doesn't, so I think she's torn here. And this is when things get interesting. So basically this song is what is happening around her at the moment, how the sea levels are rising due to global warming and how there is a big storm brewing. There's sort of an apocalyptic feel, and the mermaid doesn't know whether to save the humans or not. She realizes she has blood that may actually save mankind. So then it leads on to Aquarium. So you get strange synths. So Aquarium starts off with strange synths to kick off a song, a very psychedelic feel. And it's also building an atmosphere. Like, this is a very atmospheric song. So HAKEN are really good at building atmosphere. So you get ways of Sims transitioning it to a use of symphonic elements, already making it feel quite epic. So then the song leads on to Ross vocals accompanied with a slow tempo. Ray incorporates those rim clicks and you get a really cool sexy bass group. There's nice guitar picking in the verses, transitioning the chorus as Ross incorporates that high falsetto. So the drums pick up at this time. We get a nice slow solo that leads on to the next verse, stripping back the instrumental. So throughout the song, transition to the keyboard melody that sounds like something out of a video game. Like, this is an awesome instrumental. It's like sounds like something out of a video game. Really reminds me something like Metropolis Part 1 from Dream Theater. Crazy instrumentals happening here. So after the instrumental, Ross again chimes in with the bridge and incorporates this grunt, which I absolutely love. He incorporates a grunt like, to me, it just escalates the song. So we get another guitar solo that's a lot faster, this time incorporating the same melody, but escalates the song even further. Then comes in the chorus again, and then leads on to some nice piano. Ross comes in again for the conclusion with a nice chord progression by the guitar. We get a nice slow drawing guitar solo in the conclusion. Now, to me, this song is basically, while the mermaid is like swimming and everything like that, you get a fisherman that I don't know his name, but the fisherman trying to get fish. But I feel that he's very lonely, he feels empty and useless. This represents that doom is coming to his own species here. So then he sees something in the water, captures this something in the water, and that's none other than the mermaid. And this is the fisherman at first is very greedy, and maybe takes it back. Maybe the fisherman is part of a circus or something like that, puts her on display. Now the mermaid has become a freak show, and this is what I was getting from this song. We know the mermaid's mission is to actually save the world by her blood. By humans drinking her blood, they will survive. Now the mermaid can't help humanity because the fisherman's got her trapped within this display. The mermaid's wasting away, and she pleads with the fisherman saying, please let me go. But at the same time, I feel that the fisherman is also starting to fall in love with the mermaid. I think the mermaid tells him that, you know what, something bad is going to happen. Doomsday is coming. You gotta let me help you save humanity. I just feel like the fisherman realizes that it's wrong to have captured this incredible creature. Alright, so the next song leads to Eternal Rain. So you get a nice guitar accompanied with bass and synths with good use of cymbals by the drums. So there's an eerie melody creating an atmosphere again. Tone of the snare sounds fantastic. The mixing in this song is magnificent and leads on to the verse. This is a lot slower song than the previous songs we've heard. You get a chunky guitar riff in the chorus with nice chord progression with nice drum fills. So the second verse, Ray really shines in this, like the drummer really shines. Incorporates a few accents, not making it boring, but then uses the same technique in the chorus. So you get an instrumental section, we get another drawing guitar solo, then leads on to another solo that's fast paced and energetic. So the keyboard or some other synth comes in with its own solo like a duo off with guitars. A crazy instrumental section with strange tones of keyboards which leads into a bass lick, then goes back on track to the melody before. So what's crazy is again reminds us something out of Dream Theater, how everything just goes absolutely crazy, like something out of Beyond This Life from Scenes from a Memory, and then it goes back on track, but it incorporates the same melody that was before the instrumental. And then it concludes with a soaring chorus as well. So yeah, Ross's vocals are again fantastic. So what I was getting from this song is that, yeah, the fisherman realizes he's done wrong. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky to understand, to interpret. But I feel that the fisherman is that in love with the mermaid now because the way she has pleaded. The mermaid is very weak now. He actually approaches her and kisses her. And this triggers human energy towards the mermaid. And that human energy will liven her up again. This is when the eternal rain happens. When I say eternal rain, you have a huge storm that is brewing and the eternal rains are starting to fall. So after the kiss by the fisherman, the mermaid comes back to life. But it may be too late. The eternal rain falls, then leads on to the flood. What is awesome about this song? So drowning in the flood, there's an awesome introduction to kick off the song with a guitar riff. Ross comes in with layering vocals, sounding intense with anger in his voice, transitioning into his normal tone. It sounds like to me that they are drowning. They are drowning while the fisherman's drowning, but she's not drowning because she can breathe underwater. And this is with the distorted and layering vocals by Ross. So you get a good tone of the snare with nice drum fills that leads onto the next verse. You get an eerie melody by the synths, leads onto bombastic guitars along with Ross's grunty vocals. There's a nice guitar solo with different changes signatures throughout this part. There's different changes with guitar dominating, incorporating solos and riffs. It leads on to the next verse with Ross taking complete control. He alternates his vocal tone throughout sections, which doesn't make it boring. Like, this song isn't boring. Like, none of these songs are boring. They are very impactful. We get a quiet section with just the synths, creating incredible atmosphere. Again, there's an orchestral feel throughout this part. It leads on to a nice section with slow drums and prominent bass accompanied with Ross's close to angelic voice. Yeah, Ross incorporates an angelic voice throughout this song, which is quite orgasmic in my opinion. Like, I really enjoy his vocals within this song. There's a nice crescendo leading onto a conclusion, which is epic. So backup vocals harmonize very well with Ross throughout this conclusion of the song. This is one of the best vocal performances on the album. So Ross incorporates these amazing vocals along with these backup vocals that harmonize very well with Ross. And this is the best vocal performance on the album in my opinion. Just when you thought the song was over, you can damn well fucking well think again, because we get another keyboard solo accompanied with an in-depth sexy guitar riff with thrashing drums, mainly cymbals, but to end it with such an intense feel. Drowning in the flood is ideally the apocalypse. The big storm is brewing and the eternal rains are falling, and this is when everyone is dying. Humankind is starting to drown, and they are suffering the consequences now by pushing up pollution into the ozone layer, breaking up the ozone layer and causing huge massive storms to intensify, along with the glaciers melting and the sea levels rising. This is all to do with apparently global warming, which I don't really believe. Things that's getting intense. There are many graphic lyrics within this song, like bodies floating around them and everything like that. So as the eternal rains fall, the flood starts to rise, and the fisherman's drowning in the flood. Of course, the mermaid can breathe. Now the mermaid realizes that the fisherman has actually kissed her and saved her life. So then she does the unthinkable, and throughout this song, she decides to cut her arm and let the fisherman drink her blood. By drinking her blood, apparently the fisherman gets gills and he can start to breathe underwater. So ideally, you could say that the mermaid's blood is a mermaid potion to let humanity breathe underwater from the rising sea level. So this is a very sad song, but you can see in the background that the fisherman is holding the mermaid. And we'll get on with the lyrics later on, but it leads on to Sun, a very, very beautiful song. So the song leads in with wind in your ear and nice clean guitar. You can hear him change chords along with the soaring wind. Bass comes in with awesome licks. Sounds like a tuba or something like that, or trumpet being used in the first verse as Ross comes in with a lot of emotion. So there's a good tone of the snares. Instrumentals kick in slowly. The main star is Ross in this song. There's a nice transition to the chorus, some kind of choir harmonizing with Ross in the background. So it leads on to the second verse with clean guitars in the background. Electric guitar comes in with a nice drawing out solo conveying a lot of emotion. Drums kick in as the song becomes a body and more in depth as Ross uses his vocals in the distance. Leads on to the next part of the song with vocals again with symphonic elements in the mix, making the song eerie but epic. It ends with a soft, clean acoustic guitar. So it sounds like to me this is a ballad. But this is a very important for the story. What I'm getting at is the storm has subsided, the eternal rains has stopped. Everything is in absolute chaos. You got dead bodies just floating all over the place. Background, you got a weak mermaid and you got the fisherman holding the mermaid. Fisherman is alive, but the mermaid is dying just because the mermaid has allowed the fisherman to drink her blood. What's really sad is what I'm getting is that the fisherman actually kills her. the mermaid is willing to give her life to others. Her blood is like a potion for humanity here. The lyrics is goodbye she cries as she slowly disappears into light she vaporizes. So the mermaid vaporizes. So I feel that the mermaid vaporizes. How is he going to let others drink her blood if she vaporized? See, that sort of doesn't make sense. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the story is about, but I just feel that the fisherman kills her. So yeah, it's a beautiful song. And then it leads to the main event of the album, Celestial Elixir. Alright, so this is a fantastic song. Fantastic song. So I may be a little bit off with the story, but I can definitely tell you that this song is absolutely magnificent. It's a masterpiece. It's around 17 minutes. Like, all these songs are very long, but this ends with an amazing conclusion. So it kicks off with an interesting intro, but you get an orchestral feel throughout the transition into a circus-like theme, similar to the point of no return. Then you have a guitar that rips into an awesome melody accompanied by the impactful drums. Leads on to the first verse as Ross comes in with angelic vocals, and it all builds up to that soaring chorus, which is melodic with an awesome guitar melody and nice use of the chord progression. Throughout the second verse, the bass is very prominent. This has a very prominent bass throughout this song, which is fucking awesome. The instrumental comes in sounding quite fun with trumpets and tuba. Nice guitar scales happening, making it quite thrilling and exciting. A really fun instrumental and guitar and keyboard solos. You get an awesome guitar solos, you get awesome keyboard solos as well. So it leads on to the next verse as Ross comes in and uses his high vibrato falsetto very well within this song. Again, the bass is prominent, accompanied with unpredictable drum fills. It leads on to the chorus again, which is soaring and melodic. So the conclusion, we get the same melody from the chorus, but with an awesome guitar solo. And it's such an interesting way to just end this album. Now to me, when I think about the lyrics, is that, you know what? The storm has passed, the mermaid has died, she is vaporized, but somehow the fisherman's got her blood now. And now he can start the process. Because he's got the mermaid blood. He can now give blood to other people. And from then, it'll be like a plague. It'll be passed on and passed on and passed on and passed on, and mankind will survive again. They will understand the consequences of what they had caused with the climate, and now they will start to rebuild. So yeah, really interesting album. But on the other hand, the fisherman is really lonely, looking for his love again, which is the mermaid. He was once depressed, he was felt emptiness and useless. He now feels fulfillment now, because he's got the blood from the mermaid. He's got the blood from the mermaid, and part of him now lives on, and part of her lives with him now. A beautiful story. This is a direct message as well for people that are feeling lonely. Yeah, I feel that this album is about the satisfaction and fulfillment that one hollow man found in the eyes of a mermaid. The eyes of the mermaid. The mermaid helped to save humanity. Without that mermaid, humanity would have just disappeared. But yeah, what an amazing album. It surely was an amazing album. And when I say it was an amazing album, it was very atmospheric, it was stylish, and it was just well presented. It's unbelievable how this is Haken's debut album as well. It's a fantastic concept album. You could say the story's a little bit silly. Like, I'm gonna say that it was hard to interpret the lyrics, to be honest. I don't know if I'm right, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I just feel that this is definitely all about the love and relationship between a fisherman and mermaid, and how there's a big storm brewing, and how there is eternal rains that just completely flood the world. Like, there's a great big flood and people were dying. The only way to save humanity is the mermaid cut her arm for the fisherman to drink. From then, humans can drink his blood, which is part of the mermaid's. But what's interesting to me is how come he didn't die? I don't know, but he may have drank a lot of blood, a lot of her blood. But fuck me, this was a fucking great album. Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to give it a 10 because it's very hard to give albums a 10 now. But yeah, this is up there with Scenes from a Memory, I gotta say. I reckon HAKEN were definitely inspired by Scenes from a Memory, their concept album and everything like that. Lyrics, on the other hand, very hard to understand sometimes. I think you can come to your own conclusion, your own interpretation as well. But I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 because it deserves to be a 9 out of 10 because this is a fantastic album. And they were definitely inspired by Dream Theater. It sounds very Dream Theater-esque sometimes. But at times they also incorporate their own style, the way of the death metal growls, death metal vocals as well. So yeah, what a fantastic album this was. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this album. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth album review. Comment below if you enjoyed this album as well. So link will be in the description if you want to check out this album if you've never checked out this before. And comment below as well. Keep the discussion going in the comment section below. And I will see you in